Yeah, that's what I have the syringes for, to drain that cyst.
Oh, I'm sorry, Leo. So?
It doesn't
There's
hurt
a
her.
cat here that's all up on my grill, cause
That's what Lido does.
he
You've
gets
heard her
up
before,
on my
ladies
grill.
and gentlemen.
He said hi.
You've heard her. No, she made an appearance in the first episode too.
So,
She didn't like that I closed her out of the bathroom. And I was talking to someone that wasn't her, and she knows that I am a lonely motherfucker.
no one
She's
likes
like,
being left out of the bathroom. Usually it means you're being left out of drugs. First
True,
off.
true.
And that's when you know you're not part of the real circle.
That's very true. I've voluntarily removed myself from
That's
that
fine.
place.
That's great. At least
Yeah.
you were invited.
Well, no. The one time,
I crashed it just to let him know I had no interest
Yes.
in it.
no, I was at a house show in Philly, and like went up to use the bathroom, walked in, and there's just like 5 people just hunched
Ooh.
over the sink, like. What, I see the fucking Coke and shit, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I just had to pee. I was also tripping. I was on acid at the time, so that was a really interesting experience to walk in on that while I'm pretty deep in an acid trip. And yeah, it just
What?
well, and I don't like cocaine, so I'm not a fan of it. I know I'm in the minority on that. I know I'm literally. I think I'm the only person I
I
know.
don't know. I think there's plenty of people who don't really. I mean, I don't know how many people are submitting to a survey of that in the first place.
Right. I would
But-
say based on the conversations that I've had with people over the years.
I think the people that talk about it like it. So it might skew your perspective because you don't hear many people say, "I just don't care for it." It doesn't, that doesn't.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
that's right.
Unless
That's me.
unless you're
Yeah.
talking to them. But if you don't care for it, you're probably not talking about it.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's not true because I've done my share of it. I just don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
I loved it when I was younger.
Oh, you
for
did?
Sure. Oh yeah. When
Okay.
I in high school, which is weird because I say that and then people are like, "Wait, you were doing coke in high school?" Like, yeah.
Well,
it wasn't everybody.
nope, not I. Yeah, I totally forgot my point. Cocaine, though.
It's a hell of a drug.
That's what they say.
No, it's
Well, no, I guess what I was going to say is just that high school, I feel like high school's a really weird time. And I don't know if everyone else is the same way, but for me, I loved drugs in high school
Mhm.
and shortly thereafter. But what really brought it all crashing down is like, I guess not having a trust fund
Right.
established
Yeah.
for me. It's really what came to come crashing down.
yeah.
When you,
right. This is all very expensive.
Right, well, yeah, and then, like, you don't want to live at your parents' house, or maybe you do, but you still, like, want to do things. I don't know. You still have to figure out your life, and other friends start to figure out their lives.
Right.
And basically, the whole point of this is when you're in high school, the desire is to get retarded. Like, that is what
Yes, yeah.
that is... I'm not sure if that...
Kill as many brain cells as possible. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that translates well these days, that terminology, but that was a
Right.
heavily used terminology when we were in
Absolutely.
high school, and that was the goal. The goal was not to catch good buzz or, feel good. The goal was to get retarded.
Right.
And we accomplished it in many different, myriad of ways.
Yep.
And we were very successful. I mean, I think we nailed it, but there became a point where all of a sudden getting retarded was not a desirable thing anymore. Like, you want to have control of your faculties. Like, you don't want embarrassing... For a while, embarrassing stories about you are good.
Right, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
for a minute, any publicity is good publicity. But then pretty quickly, you want to, like, get the reins on that shit. And you don't want, like, people's perspective running wild based off dumbass shit you did while you were retarded.
Exactly.
And so, like, it's just, yeah, my desire to do the things that I used to think were a lot of fun, like, that's not my idea of a good time anymore. But I still like catching a good buzz.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll binge drink for sure. Like thankfully not as much as I used to, but I will definitely, I go to see my friends play in Philly or something like that. I'll definitely go hard on the citywides, and as long as I have a place to stay and everything like that. But
you don't see all the winking happening right now, everybody.
No, I've been really good about that. I do not want to go to jail for an extended period of time.
I went to see the new Jay and Silent Bob movie.
How was it? Oh yeah, you did tell me that you had tickets for Lidditz.
Yeah.
And I never responded to you about it.
That's cool. It was a reboot. And it
was a reboot. It wasn't even like a sequel.
Well, it was both. It was definitely for the fans, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And it does suffer from the short, like, the limitations that are set upon any sort of, like, continuation of something 20 years after it started being a thing.
So they look older. Well, Kevin Smith is...
Oh my god, that's great. You said Kevin James.
I did say Kevin James.
They make that joke a lot, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he lost a lot of weight. Like, he looks completely different now.
Yeah, and Jason Mewes lived the life that Jason Mewes lived, so he looks like Jason Mewes.
Right.
And but that aside, I think they did an amazing job of capturing the lovables, like the lovability of the characters. They did a good job of knowing what they were doing, knowing its limitations, and still making the best of it.
Okay.
So, is it a great movie?
No. But it's a cult. It's like Clerks 2 wasn't a great movie either. But,
no, neither was the Clerks animated series or also.
You shut your mouth, good sir. I believe I have it over there on that shelf somewhere.
Okay, when's the last time you watched it?
Maybe like a year ago.
Okay. I'm impressed you still got a DVD collection.
I'm not gonna throw them away. I spent the money on them. That whole collection came from like the time when Netflix was just becoming a streaming service. So
back when Netflix was chill.
Yeah. Well, and it was like I was one of those people who was like, I don't need to pay for a streaming service. I want to own the movie.
I understand that.
Yeah. Well, of course, yeah. With you're a vinyl collector, so you get that.
Well, I even like to own even if it's a digital file, I like to still own the digital file. Like, I don't fucking stream shit. I download, like, I have a hard drive filled with fucking music. Right. So if Spotify decides to, like, oh, they lost the rights to this song, and now it's got this sample track on it instead. Like,
yeah.
Screw that. Like, I have this. It's not changing. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so, and some of that is stuff that isn't really streaming anywhere anyway, or I'd have to spend a lot of money on Amazon to get, like, Kids in the Hall, the entire series.
True that.
I got a lot of good deals on those movies or TV series, so might as well hang on to them. Every once in a while I'll throw Red Dwarf in because I actually paid $7.99 a month for BritBox just so I could stream it because I didn't have any of the shit hooked up, like the PlayStation or anything hooked up, so I didn't have any way to play the DVDs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
dear Lord, you like it that much?
Red Dwarf? Yeah, I love Red Dwarf. Well, I bought the series a long time ago too. Like,
oh yeah,
again, when it was not available anywhere. I think it was on Netflix. And then they took it off, and that's why I bought it, because I was like, oh, I want to have this to watch whenever,
Man, we come from such a weird time where, like, the transition time from, like, before you could have things, like, just have them because you wanted them. Like, Disney released their movies, like, only every couple of years. Like, if you wanted to own The Little Mermaid, you had to wait for the year that they were re-releasing the tapes of it.
Right.
You couldn't. First off, there wasn't a Disney streaming like
No.
network. Obviously,
And
there wasn't streaming.
the
Streaming is cable, and you just watch what's fucking scheduled for that time.
There was the Disney Channel, but for a while Disney was a premium channel. I remember like back in the day it was a premium channel, and then it was a big deal because they were basic, or not basic cable, but you know, they were
basic package, you know, like
right,
whatever that be considered.
Premium. Not premium. I don't know what that level's called. Preferred, I guess, if you're going by standard.
There's cable.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's not like basic cable.
Well, I mean, is that still cable? Because, like, yeah, I don't know what the terminology. Clearly, we don't know the terminology here.
Right.
But there was one that I had when in our broker times.
Let's go back to this. Let's figure this one out. Let's spend as much time as we need to trying to figure out what Disney would be classified as back in the day,
or what different cable packages are classified.
Right.
As.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
That's really where I'm at now.
If you go,
because there's the UPN, open to PBS level, where you're channel 2 to channel 13.
Wow, UPN, that's way back, dude.
Yeah.
it's fucking
and
CW
UPN
now.
Like looped, like I think it was channel 11 too.
Yeah, it was.
And CBS was like 3 and 5 too. So you really got gypped in those first 13 channels. Really, PBS, it was PBS that had like anything quality. Like as a kid, you were watching like Rupert and like Wishbone and shit like that.
Ghost Rider,
obviously Mr. Rogers, you know, all those classics, Sesame Street. So, and then it was like Fox, you know, had The Simpsons. It had some fun stuff, and you didn't realize how awful everything else was that you watched until better things came along. You know, obviously daytime television. There's soaps. I never got into soaps, but I definitely watched a couple episodes when I was homesick and Price is Right was over.
I was going to say Price is Right is where it's at. And then they started bringing back, they brought back Let's Make a Deal as well. Which, funny story about Let's Make a Deal. That was when I was working second shift. So my morning routine was wake up, make coffee, drink the coffee, obviously, and just make it and then just leave it there. But it's
a good practice and discipline.
Right. Of not drinking the coffee? Yeah.
Exactly.
I was
the art of the extraction and making the coffee, but then leaving it is really the most important part.
It's very zen, actually.
Yes.
You have complete control over your own will. But I would do that, and I would watch Let's Make a Deal and The Price is Right. It was normally just The Price is Right, and then they brought back Let's Make a Deal. And the very first episode of Let's Make a Deal...
With Howie Mandel?
That was back. No, with Wayne Brady.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when they brought that back, you're thinking Deal or No Deal with Howie Mandel.
I guess I was.
Yeah, so you're absolutely with the briefcases and the numbers. But yeah, Let's Make a Deal with Wayne Brady. The very first episode that was on when they brought it back, and the very first contestant was... the chick who lived in the apartment with J. Paul before me and Johnny moved in with him, who was staying there for a little while after we had already moved in because she didn't have anywhere to go. But yeah, Ouija. She was I'm like, I know that girl, and then I see the fucking name tag and it's Ouija. It's like,
how many Ouijas are there?
Yeah, never met any Ouijas before her. And
only boards.
Yeah, only boards. And they're all very fake.
You think so? You don't believe in the Ouija?
I do not.
So what do you think's happening there, man?
I think obviously someone's moving the fucking thing around.
It's not me though. So is it you? Are you moving it around?
It wasn't me, no.
Because it was saying some fucked up shit, man.
Oh, I know. I've had weird experiences. I just have to assume.
I mean, like really personal things, man. When we were playing, what the fuck?
It wasn't me. I swear. The ghost knows you, I guess.
Anyways.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Human Interaction. I am your host, Andrew Hambleton. And with me, I have my good friend, Chris Heiner. We've been sitting here talking for a little bit, and I think we're in a groove. So I just kind of want to break it down for you, what we're gonna be talking about today. First of all, Chris, say hello.
Hello.
That's Chris. I'm Ham. Hello. So we've been chatting a little bit about generational differences and the Disney Channel, but mostly what I wanted to have Chris on the podcast to talk about is his experience in the world of marijuana, legal marijuana, gray area sometimes, I guess.
At all times, really. Continuing to be in a gray area.
Well, no, it's you have your card, you have a recommendation. So in Pennsylvania,
still always federally illegal.
Oh well, right, but no one's been charged with anything in years.
Are you like checking that, like officiating that based off something?
Just news stories and the certain internet communities that I follow. I haven't seen a lot of things, but
Let me just clarify that to no. No, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, who knows? I don't know what the state of things are with that. I mean, I know, I feel like you'd absolutely hear about it if, like, a major company got brought into it. I haven't heard of any major companies, shy of them doing something that that is shiesty.
Oh, you mean like getting in trouble for shit?
Right. I'm saying marijuana startup companies that are already going. I haven't seen any major company get like federally busted or raided or something like that.
Well, there was the one out in Denver, but that was like right when they legalized it.
Right when it first happened.
Yeah, and I think that was actually Obama. It was the Obama administration. But he said he's not going to enforce it anymore. He was going to encourage the federal authorities not to pursue those cases anymore. But
I guess let's take a couple steps back. My initial entry into the quote unquote legal weed world was in California.
Right.
Like, geez. Ballparking 10 years ago.
Well, and I mean, when I lived in LA, our mutual friends were involved in their medical scene back in 2007, and you ended up there.
I think around 2009,
2 or 3 years. Yeah, that's what I was getting.
So about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yep.
So I started out there, and I did not have much of a game plan. It all kind of just came together.
We never do. No one ever does when they go to California.
Doors open.
Yeah.
you walk through some of them, and some of them, some of them are just like a loop back to the first spot you're at, and other ones lead down, new adventures. So, I'm very distracted right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just moving your phone off of the table in case it vibrates and
okay.
affects the.
You pointed at it first too. That's really what
because mine just went off, and I thought it was yours because mine has a very strong vibrator, ladies. So anyway, I apologize for distracting you.
No worries. So anyways, I was out in California. Didn't really have much of a game plan. And took opportunities. I ended up having a guy that was willing to teach me the tricks of the trade, and basically became his apprentice for a couple of years, actually, like maybe about 2 years, which was crazy because I lived with him while he got married, crashing on someone's couch before, during, and after their marriage is not recommended, guys.
What was that like? I mean, did you? was there like some weird interactions? Like,
I mean, nothing like too weird. I behaved well. They weren't swingers or anything like that. I mean, there's plenty of weirdness in general because people are weird, but nothing that. But I was used as within arguments, certainly, you know, as a verifier. I was
That's always
basically,
fun.
I was
Oh,
basically their child, like, you know.
So it would be like
their abused child.
You're sleeping on the couch or whatever, and they start to have an argument, and I'm guessing she would be like, well, this fucking guy's like, maybe not like that, but like, this guy's sleeping on the couch or blah, 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 blah. Like, were you paying rent? Were you?
No. I mean, I paid rent by doing all of the work that sustained their lives. But I shouldn't say all the work. I mean,
was going to say, you were an indentured servant, basically?
Yeah, I was an indentured servant. That is the accurate description for what I was. You know, I lived there, but I got the hookup. I'm not complaining. My time there, I mean, it was weird. I was willing to deal with the weirdness. I was kind of more. It was less like this fucking guy. Although, yes, that was the regular thing. I think I was just immune to it. I think the rent was so free that I didn't mind hearing me be bitched about at that time. But no, I became kind of like the verifier of sides and realities.
Oh, you were like the judge. You were fucking King Solomon.
Right.
Like, they'd bring you the baby,
and I'd saw it in half.
You saw it in half, or figure out what
both
to do.
sides to the one person and be like, fuck you guys, don't come to me next time. But yeah, so there was lots of weirdness there. And definitely, actually, there was a 1 week period right before their marriage where they requested that I leave, and I moved into the only motel in town, which was in the process of being shut down.
Oh, great. How many crackheads?
Oh, very few. This was a very meth-centric community.
Yes, okay.
So, but that said, you know, I'm not sure how many people lived there, but given I was there, I know it wasn't a 100% methed out community.
There's at least 1%, you know.
Yeah, there was the exact. I mean, if there wasn't 100 people there.
Right,
you know, there's probably like 20-ish people there.
Okay, so you're 5%.
So yeah, like 95% meth head, I would say. And the entire
on a good day,
the first night I was there, I drank way too much whiskey and got alcohol poisoning that lasted the entirety of my stay at this motel. Yeah, and then I moved back in with them after they were married.
You've had some bad luck with getting sick out in California, because I remember a story about West Nile also.
Yeah, I've had West Nile, which most people, when you say that, like, giggle, and then they see your face and like, oh wait, really? Like, that's, oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that happened to people I know.
Hey, I know. I didn't quite believe you until you told me the story. Which no. I won't make you retell if you don't want to. That's okay. It's okay.
I don't know how much.
Chris was very sick. I'll tell it. You don't have to.
No. All right. Basically, I was out.
Yeah, keep short and sweet version.
Oh man, I was about to say where I met the mosquito that gave me the West Nile.
Okay, what was its name? What was the mosquito's name?
Asshole.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah,
sounds like it.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's where he bit me. Actually, I know where he bit me, because another asshole. So basically, I was out. I was working the fields up in Northern California, and it was Grass Valley, so not the coast. More closer towards Nevada. More the
inland.
Yeah, and more the place that I hate being. And I was actually in a poppy field, and there was just.
What were you doing in the poppy field?
Walking through it to get to the weed field.
Okay.
But it just became infested with mosquitoes. It was just like, you know, you could flail around and just smack any part of you, and you'd kill a couple and still be missing many more, you know.
Wow.
And we got through there, and I thought I was in the clear, and someone eventually said, hey man, you have a gigantic mosquito on your forehead. And this other asshole was like, oh man, why'd you tell him? I wanted to see how long it was going to stay there for. So anyways, yeah. Somehow I know it was that mosquito. There's many other mosquitoes. Somehow I know it was that motherfucking mosquito.
Yeah. I would say it's a safe bet.
Anyways,
I put money on it.
Worked out in the field for the day, hiked back, got to the car, and immediately was like, ugh. I think we had plans. We were supposed to go out, and I was just like, not me. Dropped me off.
So
at
it
the
hit
house.
you that it hits that fast, or
Yeah.
okay.
Hit me that. It was like a couple hours in, basically. Like,
Okay.
and so I went home and home. I was
to where you were staying.
to where I was staying. Yes, exactly. This was an awkward point in time, and I was crashing at an acquaintance's house, basically, whose leg I accidentally broke while I was there. That didn't help. But
You'll have to give me that story off the record.
Yes, but regardless, my friend, our mutual friend, was there visiting, and the room I stayed in had a California king bed. So I decided, he'd crash with me and just lie in the middle with some pillows.
Yeah,
and we both pretty much still have a bigger bed than we normally have.
right.
You know,
I mean, we didn't even really do that when we shared that giant bed in Vermont.
Well, that was because the power went out and it was for warmth. That was when we were rubbing our bodies together for the body temperature.
What, you and I?
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that at all.
When we came up with some nicknames for each other?
No.
All right. Clearly that's another one for off the record too. Anyways, so we were in bed, woke up the next morning, feeling a little pressure, decided to try to relieve it a little bit. My pressure, I don't mean I had to pee. I mean...
He trusted a fart.
I trusted a fart.
Which you don't do. We all know that. We all know you don't trust
It's not, farts aren't a trust-based relationship. They really aren't.
Nope.
It's a gamble every time.
Yes.
And,
it's the thrill. That's
the thrill, exactly.
That's what we're looking for.
Uh-huh. So, anyways, this one, was the beginning of West Nile virus. That's what it was. And it was all over the bed is also what it was. I'll try to save some graphics, but regardless, not all over the bed because it's a California king-size bed. It's all over my half of the bed, though, that's for sure. And I decided at this point I should, not wake up my friend. I should go take a shower. So I did. And then I woke up my friend.
Priorities, by the way, people.
Right, exactly.
If you have West Nile and this happens to you, just remember, shower first, then wake up your friend who's sleeping in your shit.
I asked the doctor. That's what they recommend, too.
Yeah.
They said I did the right thing. So, anyways, I woke him up and I said, hey, buddy, I spilled Gatorade all over the bed. And he believed me, I guess.
Did he ask what color it was?
He didn't ask many details. I just told him you should get out of the bed, and he did. So that was good. But... So 3 days pass. Mind you, I'm in my early 20s. No health insurance. This is pre-Obamacare days, baby. And
fuck yeah, dude.
And no health insurance at all. So I'm trying to just ride this baby out. It's got to be over soon. So 2 to 3 days pass where I don't hold down an ounce of fluid, and things. I still keep finding fuel to keep passing somehow. And I decide, all right, I need to go to the emergency room. I'm totally cramping up. And my friend, the one who I'd, told to get away from the Gatorade, I asked him to take me to the emergency room. Get away from the Gatorade! I said, hey man, it's time. I really need to go to the emergency room now. And so... like the name implies, emergency, he decided that he needed to grab some food. And so he grabbed a Pop-Tart, which I'm like, sweet, that's like that's super portable food.
Yeah.
But he decided he needed to bust out the toaster and toast this Pop-Tart before taking me to the emergency room. People, if anyone asks you to take them to the emergency room, don't toast something first.
Just wait, I need to warm this up a little bit in like the slowest way possible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I know I could totally eat it, totally fine, just on the go as it is. I prefer it to have a nice little toasty crispness to it.
Also, people, you can microwave a Pop-Tart for like 5 seconds, and it's nice and warm. It's not soggy.
Hold on, where's my notebook? I did not realize this. Let me write this down. You serious?
Oh yeah, you can for like 5 seconds microwave a Pop-Tart.
Is that even on the box of like recommendations?
I don't think so.
All right, here's what I'm gonna say. Why? Who are they? Are they
why are they not telling?
Are they
the
too
secret?
like hoity-toity? You know, like
no.
Pop Tarts is above microwaves.
We're not Hot Pockets,
right?
Okay,
yeah. We don't have like seemingly aluminum sleeves, like fake metallic sleeves.
They do, in fact, come in aluminum sleeves, Pop Tarts, but you got to take them out of that little wrapper before you put them in.
But you still put it back in that little cardboard.
Oh yeah, no,
that looks like
the Hot
it
Pocket.
has...
Yes, yeah. But I'm saying the Pop Tart does come in
Oh,
a metal
the Pop
sleeve.
Tart comes in a metal sleeve.
Yes.
True. That might be the reason why. They know if they mention
Actually,
a microwave, then someone's going to just...
It might be on the microwave, because I do... Although they tell you to take it out of the packaging for everything, because people are fucking idiots. So that might have just been the toasting instructions that said, please remove from package first. Don't just stick this fucking Mylar container into your toaster, you idiot.
Is it Mylar?
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Really? You think so?
Yeah.
You think
that's what most food packaging is a type of Mylar.
Really? Isn't Mylar X-ray proof?
Not all of it. Or it might be. It might be X-ray
What
proof.
part of it is X-ray proof?
No. I mean, there are different types of Mylar, is what I'm saying. I think different grades. But like the packaging that my
Lar.
no, the cat's fucking the pill pockets to hide her medication.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a Mylar bag. There's a lot of food that's packaged in Mylar.
It's a fun word to say.
Yeah. A lot of stuff's packaged in it, and it's used in a lot of places, and I wouldn't be surprised if the thing around Pop-Tarts is a very thin layer of Mylar.
You heard it here, people.
You heard it here, nowhere else. You're probably not gonna hear it anywhere else either, but, you know,
it might be edited into Wikipedia shortly. Hang tight.
Hang tight. Check Wikipedia in like a year when I remember to actually do it.
So speaking of Mylar bags and wrapping it back around, you used to use Mylar for weed. Yeah, because it's X-ray proof.
And it's airtight.
I mean, no. That wasn't why.
Well, I'm saying that's one thing that also makes it good for storing weed.
Oh, okay.
That's why food is stored in it, because it's...
Gotcha. See, we would always
chip bags.
vacuum seal. Back seal first, but...
potato chips those are Mylar bags.
But, anywho... back I'm trying to remember what the original thing was that I felt I needed to create like a prequel of information to.
We were just talking about you living in
first
California.
We start with me, I am happy to say I am a medical marijuana patient here in Pennsylvania.
Yes, he is, and this is why I wanted to have him on. One, because I've known Chris for a long time, and he's had the whole spectrum of the experience in the weed world, as we'll call it, and I just wanted to hear some stories. Do you want to do it together? What's that?
The weed world, as we'll call it. Okay.
Oh yeah, I came up with it though. We called it that, but I came up with it. So just remember.
But we called it.
But we did. Well, I called it first, and then we went back and did that for you. So I just, obviously he's had some pretty interesting, I was going to say cool, but having West Nile is not cool.
Yeah.
But before we move on from that, I want to, just as a public service, what were some of the symptoms? So, in case people get West Nile, they'll be able to tell.
First symptom, pooping Gatorade.
You mean a consistency of Gatorade?
No. Well, maybe. I don't know what I mean. I think you convince your friend it's Gatorade, the thing that you pooped.
So diarrhea, obviously.
Yeah, you have diarrhea if your friend is crashing for a short period of time while visiting in the same bed as you. I recommend saying it's Gatorade. No one really knows what Gatorade smells like when spilled onto a bed, so it's a safe.
So it might
bet.
smell like human diarrhea. We don't know. We're not sure about that.
Exactly.
So, okay, well, we're done with West Nile. Thanks for grossing everybody out, Chris.
You're welcome. I'm still paying off that hospital bill, by the way.
It's not surprising. It's not surprising at all.
Yep.
That's shitty. That sucks. 10 years. 10 years, man. For because you didn't have health insurance. And just a visit to the ER.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. You know, people don't realize. You go to the emergency room, you get your emergency room bill.
Yeah.
And that's a big bill. Sure. You don't realize you actually get an additional bill that's basically like a hotel bill that is separate from the emergency room
Because
bill.
you had to spend some time there.
Yeah, they basically are like, you know, oh yeah, no, you're charged for getting, you know, your initial one emergency room, you got class 3 care, you know, whatever that means.
Right.
You know, we got to give you salt
way
water into your veins. That's a couple $1,000s right there.
For salt water.
Yeah,
for a saline solution.
Yeah, I mean, yep, exactly. And then, you know, yeah, you might have needed like an ibuprofen or something. That's a couple $100.
Right.
Because, you know, you need a professional to administer it to you.
Listen, I don't like to get political. I don't like to talk about politics, but I'm gonna say this is some shit that has to change. I do, but I'm an idiot. I don't like doing it in a public forum because I'm an idiot and I don't know really what I'm talking about.
Is that why I don't see you in the groups anymore?
Yeah, unless it's something that I feel comfortable, you know, confident talking about. Like I could talk about marijuana law and stuff like that, and you know the bills because I read them.
What do you think of 350?
So 350 is the one that they're saying don't do the state store model, right?
Yeah, 350 is the super duper cool one.
Well,
that's
right.
like you can grow it at home.
Well, that's how
like we want to limit what massive corporations and out of state players can do. We want to basically facilitate it where people can do it in like farmers market.
Well, see, that's what wasn't in the other one.
Well, the other one was saying that they wanted to sell it. They wanted to sell it in state stores, like fucking liquor stores.
Yeah, but it still had home grow option. You could still grow at home.
That was not a good one. I don't like that. The 350 does not have the state store. The 350 is.
But I'm saying
the one that like other states that like the people that wrote the laws for the other states are like, damn, Pennsylvania, that's what I wished I would have done. Like,
well, right, but what? So if either one of them passes, though, it's great.
No. If either one of them passes, there will be certain improvements, obviously, and greatness. But no, I wouldn't say it's great either way because really, right now, I mean, I don't know if you've been watching South Park lately. Mm-hmm. But they've had the whole thing about like growing your own at home and
right, yeah,
you're
fucking with integrity, yeah.
And there's one thing about growing at home. There's also the small time growers of just people that just want to like start up a business like microbrewing, you know, like. But right now everything's geared towards like if you're not Budweiser, then you're not happening. Like, you know, if you're not like someone that's coming in with insane.
But I will say that Pennsylvania has like the most craft breweries out of any state in the country.
Well, but what I'm saying is
and the way I read that bill was that with the state store model is that it was going to pretty much mimic liquor and alcohol sales in Pennsylvania.
That's not great.
It's not great, but we're already looking.
But that's what I'm saying. Why design a law off of a not great thing? This is your opportunity to write it. Why write something that's going to be like, well, this is dumb, but at least it's not like nothing. And it's like, sure.
Okay,
yes.
But see, what I'm saying is, do you want to keep being arrested, being potential? Well, you have your card now, but like, do you want people to continue to have that chance of being arrested for possession? Or would you like it to be legal, but still, you know, like the 350, that's not going to make it through the General Assembly.
I would love for weed to stop being so highly tied to the state. And I don't want to have to buy it through a state store.
You wouldn't have to. You could grow your own.
Well, right, which I would plan to do, but I wouldn't want to have to grow my own either.
Oh,
I mean, again, like, I don't want to have to brew my own beer. Like, but I like that I can.
Yeah, but you still have to go to a state somewhere that has a license to sell it. You know.
Well, but at this point, but they've okay. So we're in Pennsylvania now. Pennsylvania now is a million times better than it was Pennsylvania 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, now you can get it in grocery stores, gas stations.
Right,
You can get
right.
beer just about anywhere, and wine in in a lot of those places too.
You still can't get liquor though.
But still not liquor. So, and that's such an arbitrary distinction where it's just kind of like, what purpose does this serve? You know, is this just a vestigial part of a previous system, and we just really haven't thought it through and been able to come up with a new vision?
Pennsylvania is also historically one of the most corrupt states as far as state government goes. I mean, it's
I don't know. I can't speak to that.
That's where all of these models came from, was a corrupt government, because they all turned into rackets. The liquor license is a racket, or it was when it first started. You know, only select few people who had certain connections could.
I think anything that has the potential to be abused eventually will.
I mean,
be,
you look at the mob in the '80s in Philly, like that. Right. You know, that was a very clear picture of the corruption that went through the whole state's government at that point. Bud Dwyer, you know.
I don't know much about all of that, actually.
Bud Dwyer. You know who Bud Dwyer is, though.
I've heard the name. I couldn't tell you.
He was the Secretary of the Treasury, I believe, for the state of Pennsylvania. And in 1987, he was accused of accepting a bribe from a California company for the state employee fund had overpaid taxes, so they were looking for an accounting firm to like divvy it out to state employees, the extras, and he apparently took a couple $100,000, like $300,000, I think, in a bribe to get this California company the contract to do it, and people called him out on it, and then he.
I'm sorry. I'm just I don't want to say this right now, but
what?
Like, I just love how these were things where it's like, you know, Bud Dwyer was, and it's like this past thing about, it's like, you know, someone used this money to try to like get.
No, hold on. That's not why he's famous.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's not why he's famous. If you're listening and you know the story, you're like, oh, it's coming. So he was accused of taking this bribe, and they called a press conference.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he walked on the stage with an envelope, started talking a little bit, pulled a gun out of the envelope, blew his brains out, and it was broadcast all across the state. Excuse me. So that's part of the history of corruption, and you look at like Ed Rendell and the MOVE bombing and all that stuff. Like Pennsylvania has throughout its history been pretty fucking corrupt as far as the Turnpike Commission.
But that's not even Pennsylvania anymore.
Well, no, it
is privatized.
You look at the state
private company.
State
They've
police.
been horrible with though. But I mean, yeah, and
you know,
and again, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And anyone that you give too much credit to, where you're like, oh, we don't have to look into you at all. You're you. You know, then it's like, oh shit, they're not even looking at us. What can we start to get away with? Like that's just what happens. And now you might have some people that are different than that, and that's wonderful, and that's great. You know, I think there's plenty of great people out there, but I think if you have a system set up where you're just going to say, we're not even going to look into what fill in the blank as the politicians are doing, or priests are doing, or whoever is doing, you know, because look at them, they're whatever. It will become, someone will see the potential for bad in that and take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
You know? So, anyways.
So Chris does not want, I forget what the bill numbers are. I know
350 is the one I do want.
Right. So there's two bills in front of that they're trying to make it to the Pennsylvania State General Assembly for a vote, and that kind of comes down to one man. I forget what his name is. Rob Kaufman is his name. He's the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, and he basically gets to make the decision on whether or not these bills get to go to the General Assembly to even be voted on. Unfortunately, Pennsylvania is not a ballot referendum state because that would be beautiful.
It'd be passed so fast. It's clearly
Probably
popular.
75 to 80% majority.
Overwhelmingly
is,
popular.
Yeah.
It's just, unfortunately, everything right now will be possibly held up by the Republicans.
Right. The GOP, which...
Although I have heard
even
positive things even on that side, that they've looked at it and they see things that are beneficial for it, and they see that it could be a real legacy for Pennsylvania because it really is a bill that is addressing social justice. That's one of the main things, that it expunges all of the previous criminal records. It ends in the tracks all the people that are currently going through the process.
It's basically, this is legal, just drop it, dude.
It's and then on top of that, it's let's give a leg up to the little person that wants to start this as a small business. This doesn't need to be multi-million-dollar corporations that are able to start to play. Let's actually make it harder for them. Mm-hmm. Let's make it easier for Pennsylvania locals to find a way to become a part of this.
And the other bill has that stipulation too, where it's like, we're not going to buy the state store run model, which I agree with you is not ideal in the least. But I am of the persuasion that it's better than nothing, and as long as it still allows me to grow, if I can grow one plant for myself and just keep going in that cycle, I'm set. Like, I only need one plant for me, depending on how good of an operation I can get going. Well, but I don't consume at the rate that I used to.
Well, but even still, I mean, if you grow one plant, that means you have one variety, and what happens if you're a person that actually needs medicine, it as a medicine? What if you need it, and if so, if you want it in a concentrated form or whatever else,
Well, you can, all of that stuff is still legal to make and sell, you just have to go to a state store. Now, again, I agree that stuff that's not ideal. But again, better than nothing. Better than what we have now. That's for sure.
Well, but and this is where I say my philosophy,
I
which
agree
is,
with you.
if we're at the point where we're designing it, should we just be thinking what's better than what we have now, or should we be thinking what's the best way we can design this?
But I think that there's also that compromise in there. That's like that's the compromise, is how can we guarantee that we're going to get the tax money from this? And also, how can we control it in a way that appeases the people who are afraid of it for now?
Well, and that's where I think the SB350 bill is just vastly superior to the other bill, is that it is not just trying to find a way to bring it in and get taxed for it, because again, you can brew your own beer. You don't need to pay taxes on it. How many people do it? I mean, a lot of people do. And how many of those people still go out and buy other beer? Plenty.
Right.
There's hardly anyone that's supplying their entire beer supply just by themselves.
Oh, I completely agree.
And so there's still going to be a massive industry for it. You can grow your own food. Do you grow your own food? Do you...
I have. You do. Also, which we're going to get to.
What percentage of the food that you've grown makes up the total food you eat?
Right. I see what you're saying.
Would you feel confident even saying 1%?
Me? No, not at this point, no.
Right. And that's most people, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. Most people, it's literally 0% that they grow for themselves, yeah. Which, and like, I get what you're saying. And that's kind of where
There's still going to be taxes that can be made off of it.
Is
the point that I'm saying. And you can still do it yourself. And sure, that but depending on how the laws are designed, will very much so impact the actual experience that the average person's going to have. And if you can grow one plant or 3 plants or whatever, but the 350 bill actually puts in for like trading, for being able to do things like.
So did the other one. The other one had...
Now, what is it? Like, I'd love it if you could possibly pull up the other one. I think the other one's already been kind of shot down.
That was a state store model one.
Yeah, there was a lot of pushback on that one.
I know, because people were upset because of the state store model, but it still had provisions for home grow. You could transfer up to an ounce between people for no value, for trade value, basically. with no penalty. You could move up to, I forget how much without penalty, live plants, or I think it was like 6 plants or something like that without a license, basically. And then you would get your liquor control board license, which is where the racket is. It was 1870 something. 72, 75.
I don't want the
like that.
state to be regulating the sales price of things.
No. I completely agree with you that it is not the best way, but it is still better than being arrested for having marijuana.
Sure, but
that's what I'm.
But
looking
again,
at.
if there's already another model that gets more support by both sides, and all of the other states that have done it are like that, yeah, that's what I wish I would have done.
I'm saying if.
Why even still talk about the
true.
other
I didn't realize that there was the support for 350 outside of like the actual like marijuana community. I didn't know there was Republicans looking at it and saying, "Oh, this is a good thing." Because I've heard from the GOP so far on the issue is no chance. We're not even going to read the bills.
Yeah,
so
that's largely still what you'll see. But what I've been reading on the 350 bill is that it really is designed in a way that would offer solutions to issues that both sides are concerned about, and that it's basically something where it's like, oh shit, like, oh, that would solve that.
I'll have to look it up, because that was introduced, I think, a week or two after the first one that I saw, which
it was introduced by Senator Leach. I'm actually looking at it right now. It's
from Delco.
Maybe
Senator Leach, isn't he Delco?
I'm not positive. So it has a goal here. I'll just read this off, if that's all right. Establish a rational and fair protocol for the legal use, cultivation, and sale of cannabis. Enable those who have been harmed by prohibition to get out of prison and expunge their criminal records. And provide opportunities for people of all income levels to enter the cannabis industry. Those are the 3 main goals of the bill. Okay. I mean, that right there seems like it is focused on the important things.
Yeah.
It's not just... And I feel like the mentality of... And I don't disagree with you. Yes, it would be better than putting people... continuing to have it be criminal. But you could just decriminalize it.
Well, true. And that's basically what alcohol is. I mean, it's legal, it's decriminalized, but they still control it in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And
but Wolf has basically just decriminalized it, as far as I understand. I mean, he pretty much said, like, we're going to stop pursuing this stuff. Like, and anyone can try to apply for expungement of the records and things like that.
Well,
so
and,
he's already largely moving towards that.
And he's come out in support of recreational.
But just to finish my point, my concern, again, with the logic of, or philosophy of, it's better than what we have now, or just at least people won't be put in jail, is that I feel like it gives too much wiggle room to the other side for abuse, for them propping it up to benefit, where it becomes just another corporate run, not just corporate run, but I mean like something that no person can get into unless you are already, it'd be like trying to become like a competitor with Facebook or Amazon or Google. Like, you can't do it. They've already locked you out. You're done.
Right.
It's not happening unless you somehow really do something crazy and like miraculously enroll it in a way where they're not able to just decimate you and then buy you out. Like, it's not happening. And that's what the weed industry has been in every state that it's opened into, because everything's required you to have millions of dollars to even get the permits to even get started.
Right.
So this is saying, okay, no, not here. If we're doing this, we're making a business opportunity for the small communities, for the people in them,
and
for this to actually be of benefit to our state. And so that's why I say, while I appreciate the fact that it's not wrong, it would be better for us to have it be decriminalized or have it be in some way where people, it's too loose, where it gives way too much room for things to just be rigged in the way everything else currently is.
And that's what I was concerned about, especially with the Liquor Control Board being in charge of the rollout of the program. Now there was, the reason I brought that other bill up is because I was thinking, what's more likely to pass through the GOP led state House and Senate. Like
I
what's
understand.
going
That's
to
always
get them
the-
on board? Yeah, it's
That's
politics.
always the dichotomy. Exactly.
It's the politics of it,
which
not
I
just
obviously fuck politics.
yeah. But I do want
It's
to
like,
say,
here's what things should be like, but what do we think, unreasonable people will accept or something?
yeah, what can we get? Where can we find a compromise that And
I
sometimes
understand,
that's not great. That's not always the best.
But certain topics I feel like are more worthy of compromise than others, and certain things are just like, there's no reason to really compromise here. We both win if we just embrace this.
True, very true.
And that's what I think the 350 bill is starting to accomplish, is that it's opening the eyes of people. It's doing a good enough job of having the vision where they start to go, oh, this does that,
right? Well, and I do want to say in the I should have been looking up what number it was. I forget what what the number of the bill is. But from my understanding of reading it, there was a stipulation in there that the state would not buy any sort of cannabis product from a company that was either not based in Pennsylvania or not willing to buy goods that were product that was grown in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So it's basically like, if you're not going to buy ours, if you're not going to buy ours, we're not going to buy yours. Or you can just come here and grow it here and we'll buy it from you. So there was that idea of trying to keep it local to the state at least, but that still, you're right, doesn't stop some giant corporation from opening a mega farm, and
which is what's happening already.
Right.
That's what all the major players that now.
It doesn't stop Tegrity Farms.
Well, I guess you might not know
from coming in and
I'm trying to think of some of the Terrapin, Prime Wellness. A lot of these are companies that are in Colorado, are in California, are in all the other legal states, already are multi-million-dollar companies.
Right, and they're just shipping shit in to their shops.
Or they just buy a piece of property in the new state that becomes legal and then just set up shop there.
Well, they still can. I guess they can grow here now.
Yeah, they do. That's who's growing.
Yes,
yeah. And so, that's the thing. You don't have to be... You can't grow from out of state and ship it in here, but you can be a company that's from out of state and just set up an operation here.
Right.
And so...
And then you can price gouge.
Yeah, and you can still send that money ultimately back to your headquarters,
Well, and that's what Amazon does in other countries, and Google. And Google especially, I just saw Andrew Yang talking about it today. He's my boy, by the way. Again, this isn't a political podcast, but I'm part of the Yang gang here. Chris is a Bernie bro, I believe. Right?
Yeah, although I'm super down with Yang. Bernie, when this election round came back around, I was like, oh man, how much am I feeling the burn? I don't know. I still love the guy, but then as we got deeper into it, I was like, he's the only one who's consistently been saying the stuff that everyone else is like. They're like, wait, let Bernie go first, so I know what to say. Is basically what it feels like.
Well,
and then it's like, well, why not just have the person that's been consistently saying and acting that way be the one to represent it instead of someone else that is just following his cue whenever he lays out a new one. But Yang kind of is on another level where he's beyond Bernie in many ways.
Yeah,
he really is, and he's, I think, way more exciting. So for me, it's Bernie, Yang, and Buttigieg. Those are the three that get my most attention. There's others that I'd be open to, but those are the three that I'm like, oh shit, they're on. Shut up. I want to hear what they have to say.
I do like listening to Mayor Pete talk, for sure. He's
he actually answers questions that were asked.
Which I like about Yang too. And,
he's great with
I have noticed that Bernie...
he's kind of a broken record.
He is kind of a broken record, and he doesn't... What I like about Yang is that he goes so deep into policy, or as deep as he can, in the time you get when you have 10 fucking people on a stage for a debate. But if you listen to him outside of that sphere and listen to his public appearances and things like that, the guy gets really in depth and he explains things very well. It's good to see. But I would absolutely love a Sanders Yang ticket. Fuck yeah. Even Sanders Warren, although she's she's kind of outdated in her policy.
Sanders Yang would be dope. I mean, I'd love to see any of them work together. Honestly, like at this point, I shouldn't say any. There's a few that I don't care for that much.
I don't like Kamala Harris. I don't want Biden.
Yeah, Biden's not Biden. Yeah, I'm not interested in Biden. I'm not interested in Biden at all. I'm not interested in Kamala Harris. I got turned off by Julian Castro. I get turned off when they play the game the same old way. As soon as it becomes, who's the front runner and let's try to bring down the front runner. As soon as that becomes the whole strategy, as soon as it's, let me get my sound bite in, I don't love that, And Yang's interesting because he gets sound bites by calling out sound bites. He's kind of breaks the fourth wall while he's doing stuff.
He was doing his Ask Yang question thing today, 10 hours today on the internet. And I was watching a little bit, and he, at one point, I forget what he said, but he just had a very human moment where he was just like, yeah, the fucking guy, and he's just like, oh shit, oh no, like, it's just like, this guy's real, he's not a politician, he's, you see pictures of him from like the 90s, and he's this fucking punk with like pink hair and shit. It's like, I get this guy, gets me too,
Well, and it's tricky because there's people like Beto who he was in a band when he was younger.
Oh, but he's so fucking fake.
Well, I think he's charming. I think he's a charming guy. You like him. You want to like him, but he's just not what I'm. But I just don't think he actually has the gusto. Which I felt like I had to say it in a different language gusto, for him.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't know. He's a likable guy. He's very likable, but I don't just want someone that's likable. Now Yang is likable, but I think that he is bringing new ideas that speak to the changes that are happening, and it's amazing how relevant his same ideas keep being. It's like, hey, the reason I came up with that solution is because I've thought of these things, and this is the thing that makes sense for those things. It's you kind of want to give it a chance. My only hesitation with Yang is I almost want to give him the cycle, bring up all these ideas, let them get sifted through, by everything, and kind of see what survives, and just like Bernie's stuff, Bernie got adopted by everyone, and then
it's true.
Give time for the action, because his ideas are radical. I don't see the general population being able to pull it on. I see a lot of Trump supporters being able to jump on, but I don't see a lot of middle America, I don't know, suburban mom,
for Yang, you're saying, yeah.
I see a lot of people just being too freaked out by it, it's just too different. But I feel but that's not a reason necessarily that I wouldn't vote for him. But again, Bernie to me just represents the core ideals of what I truly do believe are wrong with everything. And this has become a political podcast.
It has now, yeah. But that's cool. We'll get that out there. But no, and I agree with you that there's a lot of different combinations that could work. But the whole reason I brought it up was to point out the similarities to in what's going on in the weed world and just the tech world too, where there are corporations who are coming into these states and just setting up shop and making it pretty much impossible for any competition to exist. Look at Comcast and Xfinity. My service sucks, and I keep it because I don't have a choice, and I pay more than I should for it. And that's what ends up happening, and we don't want that to happen in the weed world. And the whole reason I brought it up was because of Google storing. They run a lot of their revenue through Ireland or just through a different country, so they don't have to pay taxes on it. And that's how these companies could rip off Pennsylvania if we let them do it. They could funnel all that money back to a different state.
It's easier,
has a lower tax rate or something like that.
It's easier to design it right in the first place than to make changes once it's in place.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that if we're going to do it, we shouldn't just be thinking what's better than now. We should be thinking what's better than what the other states have done. What what did the other states fall short of that they've done so far? And that is what the 350 bill does, and that's what the other states say, where they go, as I said before, they look at it and they go, this is exactly what I wish I could have done.
What's the bill number? Just for
SB 350 PA.
SB 350 PA. That's the bill that we're pushing. This podcast is pushing.
Hell yeah.
And
speaking of which, though,
yes, Chris also
my own little plug.
Yeah, we'll get that in, and then I think this has actually been a pretty good stopping point here
for sure. But yeah, I have my own YouTube channel where I do my own reviews of all my own products and purchases from medical marijuana dispensaries. I also discuss my experiences there. Talk about any events, talk about things like this, the new bills that are popping up. But mostly so far, I do reviews of the products, so you know what's out there and what I think is a good deal and not a good deal. It's called CHPAMJ. If you just Google CHPAMJ or go on YouTube, it should be the only thing that pops up. So subscribe if you want to find out more info about the Pennsylvania medical marijuana scene.
Sweet, man. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with me. It's always fun. We always have a good time together. It is a little weird to kind of try to interview a good friend of mine, because it really just turns into a conversation between two friends. We didn't really get the interview.
We may have to try to put more effort into a true...
this is the second episode of my podcast, probably. I don't know if I'm going to do them in order. This is the second one I'm recording, put it that way. So I'll get better at this, and we'll stay on track.
We'll figure our format out.
Yeah. I think
I say our. It's mine now, bitch.
Yeah, dude. I did the same
Hi with
thing.
Chris.
Yeah, I did the same thing when I started.
That's
going
the name
on
of my YouTube channel.
Anyway,
we'll wrap this up here.
Yeah, we're gonna. This was fun. Again, thank you for coming on and hanging out with me. This has been Human Interaction with Hambone and Chris, and see you later.
Yeah. Bye.
Outro music.
Boom, 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 boom.